NLP stages don't explain politics. There is a particular kind of confidence that shows up when a sales-trained NLP coach finds a stage model. Suddenly politics, workplaces, and relationships all become a neatly ordered ladder. Disagreement is not disagreement. It is immaturity. Progress is not argument and evidence. It is you moving to the next color. This article shows why that move is seductive, why it collapses under scrutiny, and why importing it into workplaces is a bad idea. The claim, in his own words. In his YouTube video, Jay Headley promises to take us through the different stages of political views and different stages of human development, which is the real division, then rolls through a slide tour of Ken Wilber, Claire Graves, Keegan, Cookrotter, Fowler, and Maslow as authorities behind the framework. The pitch sits inside a long-running commercial offering from the coaching room, with Headley introduced as a managing partner on their site, and with Integral Leadership Certification positioned as the product. We then get crowdsorting and current affairs by color. Barack Obama is framed as moving into teal in the Wilbur universe. Donald Trump is cast as a disruption of amber or orange. Percentages of the population are assigned to colors such as teal, complete with growth projections. Wilbur's Obama claim is opinion, not measurement, and it has been repeated in popular outlets rather than peer-reviewed venues. See for example this archived commentary, Ken Wilber on Obama as teal. On the website Elephant Journal. We are also told personalities contract and solidify around age 55, and that if you have not reached green by then you probably never will. That specific claim does not survive contact with the literature on adult personality change, which I cover below. Finally, the analysis flows into a product, a leadership program teaching the pathologies of each stage. That is the sales funnel. See the current sales copy here. Integral Leadership Certification. Why it sells. Authority stacking. Name enough big thinkers and people stop asking for data. Piaget. Maslow. Keegan. Graves. Wilbur. It sounds like science. It is not the same as evidence. Status move. If you disagree, you can be tagged lower stage. That reframes critique as pathology. Simplicity theater. Complex political and organizational conflicts are relabeled as timeline problems. The real division is your rung, not the issue. Commercial fit. If division is developmental, the remedy is a course that moves you up. What the evidence actually says. 1. Broad stage claims are contested in psychology. Universal stage ladders have long been criticized for weak operational definitions, cultural bias, and poor falsifiability. A classic review of Kohlberg's cross-cultural research found serious limits to universality. See Snery's review in Psychological Bulletin and later summaries of domain theory, which replaces one ladder with distinct domains that develop differently. As Snery, 1985, Cross-Cultural Universality of Social Moral Development, ResearchGate. As Smetana, Jambon, and Ball, 2014, Domain Theory, A Critical Review Science Direct. For a readable overview of social domain theory, see this error-coasted primer. 2. Political attitudes are not a single staircase. Political orientation is shaped by multiple influences, including dispositions, life events, social context, and heritable factors. The foundational twin study in the American Political Science Review remains a clear entry point. Alford, Funk, and Hibbing, 2005. Are political orientations genetically transmitted? Cambridge Abstract and Open Access. Cambridge University Press and Assessment Neurotheoretica. 3. The personality hardens at 55 line is false. Large meta-analyses and longitudinal work show personality continues to change across adulthood. People tend to become more conscientious and emotionally stable over time, and change does not stop at 55. C. Roberts, Walton, and Veitchbauer, 2006, Patterns of Mean-Level Change in Personality Traits Across the Life Course. ResearchGate. Aspect, Egloff, and Schmuckel, 2011, Stability and Change of Personality Across the Life Course Working Paper. 4. There are better, testable ways to analyze political moral differences. Moral Foundations Theory, MFT, makes explicit constructs, publishes instruments, and tests predictions about left-right differences. You can disagree with parts of it, but it is at least measurable. Key sources: Graham, Haight, and Nosek, 2009. Liberals and conservatives rely on different sets of moral foundations. ProjectImplicit.net. Graham et al., 2011. Mapping the Moral Domain. Stern School of Business. Haight and Graham, 2007. When Morality Opposes Justice Publisher and an Open Version PDF. Springerlink Stern School of Business. For a general gateway, moralfoundations.org. The Unfalsifiability Trap. When any behavior, movement, or election result can be post-labeled as red, amber, orange, or green, nothing can disconfirm the model. You cannot run a blinded assessment of teal in a population if your only instrument is a coach's vibe. If a claim is not testable, it does not belong in the diagnostic seat. If you believe otherwise, specify the following in public. Construct. What exactly counts as teal in an individual or organization? Instrument. The questionnaire or behavioral coding scheme, with reliability statistics. Prediction. A priority hypotheses that could be wrong. Outcomes. Independent measures that improve after stage work, not self-reports from paying clients. Until then, telling an audience that the real division is their rung is a status play, not an analysis. The politics bicolor problem. Reducing political disagreement to stacked worldviews avoids the messy work of argument, incentives, and institutions. There are research programs that make testable claims about how people moralize and polarize. MFT, for example, predicts left-right differences in emphasis on care and fairness versus loyalty, authority, and purity, then actually measures them using validated items and samples that can be replicated. A color ladder that explains everything explains nothing. In workplaces, this gets dangerous fast. Once Land D packages stage talk as leadership maturity, dissent can be pathologized. If an employee pushes back on an initiative, they risk being labeled amber. If a manager resists a consultant's tool, they can be framed as lower stage. That is how you slide from development to coercion. It is also how organizations waste money on ideology. You can see the commercial hook clearly, diagnose society with stages, then invite leaders to a program that will reveal each stage pathologies. If you want a flavor of how this rhetoric is promoted beyond slide decks, listen to this podcast positioning the next stage of human development and NLP and integral theory as vehicles for evolution. Integral Leadership with Jay Headley. Treat it as marketing, not measurement. A quick audit of headline claims. Politics is really a stage structure division. Oversimplified and unfalsifiable. Competing evidence shows multi-cause drivers of ideology, including heritable variation. C. Alford, Funk, and Hibbing, 2005. Obama as teal, Trump as amber or orange. Commentary, not measurement. See Wilbur's popular claim here at Elephant Journal. 4 to 5% of adults are teal, rising to 10 to 15% in 20 years. No population data or validated instrument is provided. Treat this as numerology. Personalities contract at 55. If you have not hit green by then, you probably will not. Directly contradicted by longitudinal evidence. C. Roberts et al., 2006. If you insist on using developmental language, use guardrails. Treat stage talk as metaphor, not diagnosis. Do not use color labels in hiring, promotion, or performance management. If you claim outcomes, publish methods and comparative data. Prefer testable frameworks from political and moral psychology when analyzing public issues. Remember that adult change is ongoing. Do not write people off because a slide told you 55 is the cliff. How NLP turns growth into gaslighting. Bottom line. This is not analysis. It is a hierarchy that puts the coach on top. It borrows credibility from developmental psychology to sell certainty about politics and people, then routes that certainty into a paid program. If you want to understand a vision, start with evidence that can be wrong. If you want better leadership, stop importing color ladders and start measuring behavior.